Yeah, good evening, guys. I hope everybody is doing fine. Let us start the part 2 of this revision series. Let's just give a minute for people to join in. Meanwhile, whoever has told good evening to all of you also. And I hope everybody's preparations are going well. Things are pretty much fine. Now we have the other 4 chapters to cover. We know the first 4 chapters have been covered in the previous live session. Those of you who are watching this part of the live for the first time, as you know that there is a part 1 to this also. Now in this live session, we will be discussing chapters 5 to 8 of the CA Inter Strategic Management Syllabus. But also, having said that, those of you who attended the first live, you also know that if you are from the old syllabus, this will still help. So therefore, we try and understand everything of what we do. Nothing to worry about what is going to happen. Preparation is all important, so don't bother about external factors now. So let other people join in, and as I generally request people who are watching, if any of the comments are something that you can address, you are free to address that. They don't have to wait for my confirmation. So please do help others if at all there are any questions, if you know the answer for it. And let us move on. Before I move on here, I quickly want to pick up from where I started. So I do also have the extracts of what we discussed the last time. So this was all about turnaround, retrenchment and all of this. Before going there, let me also take you through the chart once again, because that's going to be a little important for us to pick up that. Yeah, so this is what we discussed in our last session, phase 2, which was about strategic analysis, and then we came down here, which is phase 3, crafting a strategy. That is what we were discussing. And phase 3 involves 3 levels of strategies. We all know that, and that also I think we have written separately. So after portfolio analysis, okay, so this was phase 3, which is all about crafting a strategy. Phase 1, vision and mission. Phase 2, strategic analysis. Phase 3 is all about crafting a strategy. You know that. Now, keeping this, we've already discussed corporate level strategies of stability, expansion, retrenchment, and combination of those, also known as grand strategies or Glueck and Josh generic strategies. Now, how things fare up at the business level is the next cause of concern for us. Business level strategies are 3. But before going to the business level strategies, I would also want you to know that these business level strategies, they are also called as base generic strategies. They are also called as base generic strategies, and they are also called as Michael Porter's generic strategies, because it is Michael Porter who proposed these 3 strategies. Before we go to these 3 strategies, we also need to know another important topic that Michael Porter has proposed here, which is called as the 5 forces model. So as part of today's revision, we got to catch up and start there only. Business level strategies. Business level strategies. As part of this, first we are going to discuss the concept of Michael Porter's 5 forces model. You know what the 5 forces are. You might wish to type it in the comments. We'll also make it interactive like the last time. Last time was amazing. So, and I will be able to read your comments when you type them up. So that will be easy for all of us to, kind of be clearly interactive. So it makes a lot of sense, so that you also can be a part of it, not just simply listening, but at the end of it, you will be able to also see what's going on. You know what the 5 forces are? The 5 forces here are first and foremost thing, Actually, if you look at this broadly, the story is broken down into three parts. The three parts we are talking about are competitors, buyers and sellers. But they are not forces, buyers and sellers are human beings, they're people. But the buyers, human beings in the sense it can be companies or any other form, but they're physical. But what is a force in this context? The first two forces that are being discussed: buyers bargaining power and suppliers bargaining power. So this buyers and suppliers bargaining power, that turns out to be a serious force. Okay, this is a very important and serious force, buyers and suppliers bargaining power. Also along with this, we have existing competition. The two sorts of people who always are competition for us. One, people who do the same thing as we do. Okay, they are called as rivals. They do the same thing that we do, so they are also very important, rivals. Then we have a set of people who sell a different product, but it serves the same purpose, and that is called as substitutes. Substitutes. They might not sell the exactly same product, but it's a different product serving the same purpose. But that is also a source of competition. Now you know that rivals are a direct source of competition, while the substitutes, whatever we are using the term as substitutes, those substitutes, they are what is called as latent source of competition. You don't say indirect, they're a latent source of competition. Also moving on to the last set of forces here are people who enter newly into the market. They are called as new entrants. Now we have seen the revolution in the telecommunication sector through Jio's entrance. Jio was a new entrant, and it's a classic case study because Idea and Vodafone merged. After that, Airtel's huge customer base has been lost to a great extent. So the loss of Idea, Vodafone, Airtel have all been picked up by Jio's new customer base. So anyway, I'm not here to give you the exclusive details of what case study is, but that's a classic case of how new entrant as a force can put through various things. Not only them, there are a lot of new entrants in different sectors who, when have entered that particular string or sector, will create a serious difference. And not only that, there are a lot of new entrants who have entered and after that they have gone. We don't even know what happened to them. Sometimes it may not be successful. But the bigger question is, can I stop some new entrant from coming in? So the existing players who are called the incumbents, whoever are there, can they stop these new entrants? Yes, of course. Now like we build walls to our house so that others don't jump in and come. Now if you build a 5-foot wall, easily somebody can jump and come. What if you do it to 10 feet? Only some people who are capable of jumping that might do. And if you do it to 15 feet, it's a big task, unless there may be one very, very skilled person who might really know how to do that. So all that you are doing is, by constructing the wall, you are creating a barrier. Same is the case with industry. We discussed industry. Industry is a group of firms, this circle. In this circle, whoever are there, they are your competitors. So I hope everybody remembers that particular point we spoke about. So within the circle, there are a lot of people. We also discussed strategy group mapping already. So I don't think there could be any. But when an outsider tries to step in, if you thicken these walls, or rather in my example you said height. So here the thicker the outer wall is, it's difficult for somebody to break that and penetrate and come in, which are called as barriers. Barriers for new entrants. Now, one of the biggest advantages that Jio enjoyed when they did this was money. So they have abundant amount of money from their other businesses, wherein they thought they can experiment. Now when they say experiment, it's not like put 1-2 crores and try and experiment. They're like roughly, let's say 2,500 crores is the budget, and which other person will think of putting 2,500 crores as an experiment. Okay, we will step in and see if it works out very good. If it doesn't, then let go of. It's not a big deal. How many of the businesses will be ready to say that for such huge capital requirements? But one of the biggest advantages that Reliance enjoys a strong brand name, not only that, backed up by a great capital. Biggest drawback for any business for not becoming successful could be its capital. Okay, mismanagement, not having the right people to manage, all this will be there, but capital. And we also, when we prepare the balance sheet, the first thing that we put up is capital. So strong capital requirements are there in the industry, and when you don't have proper capital to start in, you won't even be able to enter into that industry. So not just one but 7 barriers are there that I would like to quickly take you through. First of which I already discussed right now, they're called as capital requirements. So if you don't have enough capital, then there is always a challenge to enter any market. Not only that, two, they're called as economies of scale. Economies of a scale. If already the incumbent players, whoever are there, they are operating at a scale which you can't dream to achieve in the next 3 years or 5 years, what is the point in you entering into the market? Even if you enter, they will have so much advantage that with already having their economies of scale, they will be able to do everything of what they can do, and you will not be able to even get close to them. Then what is the point in entering? So if already people are enjoying economies of scale, that is not a very attractive opportunity. Then the third point that which acts as a barrier for entry is called as differentiation, or rather in your, it's a product differentiation. If already we have, so in terms of economies of scale, what will happen? They produce more so that the per unit cost will come down. Correct? Same thing happens in differentiation also. This time the per unit cost doesn't come down, but they have something unique in their product, which even if you enter into that market, there is no way how you are going to achieve that uniqueness. Now when I am not going to achieve a uniqueness which already somebody has and they are different from me, how will I go and compete? It's very discouraging for me to again enter into the market. Not only that, the biggest requirement when somebody newly enters is, let's continue the same example, Jio. Now I am already using Airtel. I want to pick up Jio, or I want to convert from Vodafone to Jio, whatever be the situation. What should I do is give up my existing usage and shift to the new entrant. How many people will really be able to do that? Now if it does not involve a high switching cost to leave something and switch to something, if there is an incurring of cost, then it's a very discouraging idea, because many people don't wish to switch because of the cost involved in it. So the barrier number 4 here is called as switching cost. It's not a very attractive idea. When the switching cost is very high, there is no way how you can try and take this forward. Then barrier number 5, this is about things, somebody like Apple having a strong brand identity. You go there and do whatever you want, but still you can't beat their brand. When already there is so much brand value for them, how will a new entrant go and destroy their brand value and capture, not destroy, at least capture their brand value? Makes no sense, right? So brand identity is the other crisis there. Then the barrier number 6, this is called as access to distribution channels. Now I hope you know what a distribution channel is. A distribution channel is something which acts as a pathway to make sure that our product reaches our customers. Make sure that our product reaches our customers. When our product has to reach our customer, okay, so we need to have access to a particular distribution channel. Now when we don't have access to particular distribution channel which are already strongly in the hands of existing players, how will I think of going and dominating? What will I tell? How can we deliver our products? They are already there. Let them do it. So we will not take a chance to enter into such market where that problem will be of distributing a product. And finally, 7th point will be a threat of aggressive retaliation. Now, I want, most of you might have a problem with this retaliation point, so please concentrate on this one. Aggressive retaliation means it's just as simple as I'll tell you what. Let's say we are a gang of friends. Okay, I mean we know this at some point of time in our school or college or anywhere outside, you would have definitely encountered that. Already a gang of 5 or 6 people are there. Now one new entrant wants to join. So there is somebody who is trying to join your gang, but that somebody is not approaching you to join the gang because he or she knows that if somebody is trying to do that, these 5 or 6 people will try and make sure that their idea will not be successful. Now this, on a personal note, might not be a big deal, because what will happen? I mean, like if you are not my friend, I'll go find some other friend, will be the case. But think of a business. Now, if businesses which are already there, existing businesses, they all team up together or group together, or not all business, at least if one of them thinks that, Acha, you are coming in, okay, you come in. With what price? Let's say the new entrant is coming with 10 rupees as the price. You know what I'll do? Make my price at 9. Now that fellow says, okay, let me also bring it down to 9. They made it 9. Then 8. His cost itself is 8. So for the sake of trying to do something, he came down to 8. Now you know what I did? My cost is also 8. But with all these years of existence of mine, I have so much of reserves in my balance sheet. So I don't mind to burn a few. So I made the price as 7. Sir, what nonsense, you are incurring a loss. No problem. Now, I am creating so much nuisance in the market by selling it at 7. The new entrant is not able to sustain this. Okay. So this is like not allowing them to join a part of the gang, right? So you try and put so much retaliation. Retaliate is to fight back. Now here there is no physical fight back, but this is what we do to aggressively retaliate and fight back. So if the new entrant fears, why sir, after going there, if they retaliate and throw me out, all my capital will go waste. Let me not enter only. So these strongly are 7 barriers. This is a possible exam question. So you can mark a couple of stars and keep calling it as what are the common barriers to entry. This is a very, very important question. This could be a straight 4 marks question in the exam. What are the common barriers to the entry? So that's exactly what the story of new entrants is, and the barriers to the new entry. Once again, I am just clarifying, buyers and suppliers. Buyers and suppliers are not forces. They are individuals or companies or something like that. Buyers' bargaining power is the force. Okay. So if buyers tend to bring the price down, or suppliers tend to bring the price down or drive the price up, totally depending on their bargaining power, that can determine what could be your raw material cost, or that can determine even what could be your selling price. If my buyer has a better bargaining power, then I end up selling to him at a lower price than what I thought of. If my supplier has a better bargaining power, I end up paying more cost of raw material. So both ways I might end up being the loser. So buyer and supplier are not forces, but their bargaining powers are greater forces. Okay. Then rivals and substitutes, you know about who they are. I already made a mention of that. Okay. So that's exactly what the story is here. The entire story. Michael Porter's 5 forces and the barriers to new entrants. Couple of possible questions. That's the first thing that comes in this chapter. Now let's move on to the other part of this chapter, which talks about the business level strategies, which are broken down into 3 parts here. You know what the 3 parts are? They're called as cost leadership. Cost leadership. I would be really happy if you can type in what exactly cost leadership, differentiation and focus are in one-liners. I welcome your answers here. First, cost leadership. Then I will tell you about differentiation. That time you can type. Now for cost leadership, I am expecting you guys to deliver one-liner is enough. You don't have to type the whole story. What exactly is the theme of cost leadership in one line? I am expecting to see some answers. Then we have differentiation. and then we also have focus. Okay, I'll talk about them, but I'm still waiting or expecting to see answers. Low cost. I said one line, not one word. It would be better if you try and put the selling a product at relatively low cost. You can't sell at cost, produce at cost. Wordings, that's all. Continuous cost reduction to enjoy higher surplus. Okay, low cost competitive strategy. Very good. Low cost per unit, possible low cost. Okay, good. I can see some of your answers here. Right, let me clarify what exactly, we will revise. I hope most of you know it, so that's why you're telling, but be a little clear on that point. Cost leadership is not trying to sell at the lowest price. Cost leadership is all about striving to be a low cost producer. So striving to produce at the lowest cost will be called as cost leadership. You're trying to be a leader in your cost. And when you want to be the leader in cost, it's not high cost, it's about low cost. Okay, striving to be the low cost producer. That is what cost leadership is all about. And cost leadership, when is employed as a strategy, who's your target? You should know this. The target is none other than a price sensitive customer, the one who actually bothers about price sensitive customers. You know what happens when your cost comes down? You add a margin. Don't deduct the margin, you add margin, and then you can sell it at a price which is lower than or relatively lower than your competitors, which attracts all the price sensitive customers. Let me explain you that with a quick example so that you can remember this concept forever here. So there is a producer A, there is a producer B, and we will call B as the cost leader. Okay, so you know what happens is the cost of producing per unit. Let me take per unit here, that makes a lot of sense. So cost of producing per unit for Mr. A is 8 rupees, and he adds a margin. Here 2 rupees, and the selling price is about 10 rupees. Now this is what A is doing. Now look what's happening here with B. Striving to be the lowest cost producer in the market, he is able to produce the same product at 7. Now let us add the same margin what the competitor is keeping. We'll also have a 2 rupee margin only. Let's not do anything. Now we will be able to sell it at 9. Sir, he is selling at 10, we are selling at 9. What will be the advantage? Because you are having a lower price. Okay, we are having a lower selling price. What happens is it attracts a price sensitive customer. And not only it attracts a price sensitive customer, be able to sell you greater volumes. Okay, you will be able to sell a greater volume. Now, the best part about cost leader is even if our suppliers increase price, now let's say the cost of raw material went up. So this fellow's 8 became 8.5. We also had to observe the same story. Okay. Now this fellow went on to make it 10.5. Now you can make it 9.5. But if you think you want to actually take the market, you can do one thing. Instead of 2, reduce your margin to 1.5, continue to sell at 9. And when you continue to sell at 9, where the competitor's product is 10.5, look at the amount of variation that you are showing in the demand that people will have. All price sensitive customers will come off. You can attract every price sensitive customer. Having said that, if this fellow is also able to, kind of reduce his profit, he will still be able to sell at 10. Okay, and we are still able to sell at 9. Now if you really don't want to do that, you want to keep a 2 rupee margin only, you can sell at 9.5 and still be cheaper than these people. This is up to you. So if you are striving to be the cost leader, all these are the advantages of you being your cost leader. So here the entire game is in the volumes. Okay, so this is the story of a cost leader. Now, though orally I did discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages, I might definitely want you to go back there and see things in detail. Remember this example. Those of you who want to note down can also note down that example. Makes a lot of sense. I will come back to that sheet after we discuss what is differentiation. Do I get to see some answers about differentiation? What constitutes to differentiation? Can I just will I be able to see that? Okay. So yes, first I see Jessica's answer is producing products, services which have, okay, fine. That's fantastic. That's good. Very good. Yes, Vignesh can charge a premium price. Seema says, very good. So this time what we are trying to do is, in a differentiated product, we are having something which is called as uniqueness. Okay, we are adding some uniqueness to our product. We are having some what? Uniqueness to our product. There is something in your product which the others don't have. So how do I do this? Maybe by bringing core competencies. Now we already discussed in the day before session on what is the importance of having core competencies or a competitive advantage. You bring in some kind of a uniqueness into a product, and here your strategic target will be a price insensitive customer. Okay, here your strategic target will be a price insensitive customer who will definitely not bother about what the price is. He bothers about what is called as the novelty, that is the products, product being new. You can't say only uniqueness. Sometimes because of the product being new, and there are people who want to purchase it that day only. Like that is one of the reasons why you see a long queue in front of an app store on the day of iPhone's release. What are you trying to say? Day after iPhone will not be available? 1 month later the same phone will not be available? No. It's like I want to possess it now. You see this happen often with branded products. Whereas, where there is a uniqueness. I have seen this happen with Apple phones. I've seen this for years now. It's happening in the same way. Not like it won't be available in the store day after, but they will go and stand all night in the queue before the next day morning store opening. Now this used to happen back then even for J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series of books. People used to make a long queue. They want to buy it and read it on that day itself. So you read it 3 days later, will story change? Technically not. It happens for movies. People go up and stand there in the queues, buy the ticket. Why? Because it's about the novelty of a particular product. They want to have it in the first go. Okay, and for that particular thing, they don't end up, giving up on price. They don't mind. They pay premium. Not an issue. The buyers who want to have uniqueness. And this being the advantage here, our fellows also will charge premium. Unlike this fellow who was playing with the cost, this fellow doesn't bother about cost. Let the cost go as much as it wants. Plus a markup. He will still find a buyer who can afford to buy that. Why? It's not because the price. Now these guys who are buying differentiated products, they will not look at the price tag. Be very clear with that. It's a very simple equation. They're not going to look at the price tag. Now see how a differentiator behaves here. So cost of making, let's say, will be 8 rupees. Now margin is 3 rupees. So till now you've been talking only about margins of 2 and 1.5. That if I'm a cost leader, I have to attract people. Price becomes a important proposition. Now I don't care about price. If I want, instead of 3, I'll add 4. So I'll sell this at 11 or 12. Sir, what nonsense are you talking? 11 or 12? Who will buy this at 11 or 12? There will be somebody who will buy this, who is called as a price insensitive customer, who is more bothered about the usage of the product, the novelty of the product, or the features of the product, who does not bother about what the price is all about. So this kind of an advantage is available to product which has differentiation. Okay, so these are people who target such customers who are ready to pay for the novelty of the product. Now coming to the last category of things here, which is called a focus. Now when you say focus, rather there is also another term that generally comes in discussion here, it's called niche. Niche marketing or focus marketing, when you say there's an exclusive target market, you're targeting school going kids, you're targeting infants, you're targeting office goers, you're targeting students. Who are you targeting? Who is your target market? What's your exact niche? So a niche marketing strategy will work when customers have unique taste and preferences. Now this is a very important prerequisite here. If the one who is buying from you does not have a unique taste and preferences, like there is no way how you can think of people using this product, then there is no target market. So in a niche market, we will find people who have distinctive tastes and preferences. Distinctive taste and preference. I want this color only, I want this car only, I want it to be like this only. Those sort of people where there is a exclusivity involved, there is a niche. Okay, so that is exactly what focus marketing is involved with. But the stranger thing in focus marketing, now of the entire market that is there, you will choose what is called as your target market. Okay, you will choose what is called as your target market. This is the niche, to be more short and sweet, keep it as niche. Now you need to understand that there are two more sub strategies in focus, which are called as focused cost leadership and focused differentiation. Focused cost leadership and focused differentiation. You may now ask me, Array, now only you told that cost leadership and differentiation, two strategies. What are these focused cost leadership? Simple. You continue to hold the concept of cost leadership, but you are not going to apply the cost leadership concept to the whole market. You are going to apply the cost leadership concept only to these niche marketed people. Only here. So when you apply that concept only here, that becomes what is called as a cost leader. Now, I have a big question for you and I want to test your presence of mind right now. So listen to my question carefully and then answer. Focused cost leader is what is my strategy. So I'm a focused cost leader following on focused cost leadership. I sell at a price which is the lowest price in the target market. My question is, can the focused cost leader be the cost leader in entire market? Listen to the question carefully and answer. Can the focused cost leader, who is striving to be the lowest cost producer in the niche, can he also be the cost leader in the entire market, or is he restricted to the niche? That's my question. Okay, I want concrete answers here. I see some of you typing the answers. Be confident about what you're typing. Think, understand, and then, can this focused cost leader be the cost leader in the entire market? That's my question. Okay, I'm able to see some answers. I don't want to read out anything. Okay, I'm still. Okay, some people are saying yes, he can be the cost leader, may or may not be. Some people are saying restricted to the niche market. Okay, listen carefully. Nobody told. One thing that you understand, this entire circle, this piece also is part of the circle, no? If somebody is a cost leader inside the circle, better, why not? Okay, he may be the cost leader of the entire market also. You can't say he is not or he cannot be. All those people who said no, please understand this. He can definitely end up being the cost leader of the entire market. Guys, simple logic. All you need to do is to re-understand this part. If I am a cost leader inside this dotted, what do you say, shaded region, that shaded region is also part of the circle only, no? It is not compulsory. Okay, it's not necessary that yes, if he is a cost leader in the niche market, he is a cost leader for the entire market. No, I'm not saying that. But if he is a cost leader in the niche, there are all possibilities that he can be the cost leader in the entire market. Okay, so I guess people have understood it now. All those people who said no, did you guys understand? He may well be the cost leader for the entire market. There is no two thoughts about it. Okay. Okay, so I saw a couple of people understanding it wrong and they've typed in. So lot of no, not compulsory, may not be. Whoever typed, very good. Necessarily you need not be. Whatever answers you typed in, the right answers, very good. Those of you who said strictly a no, then he might well be the cost leader. That I want you to have a clarity on. Okay, so it's a very important factor. Many people misunderstand that he is restricted to the niche. No, that niche is very much part of the broader market. Just remember that. That's enough. Okay. Yeah, very good. So that brings us to the end of the first half an hour of discussion on business level strategies, also along with our discussion on the 5 forces model. Okay, so Michael Porter's 5 forces model and the 3 business level strategies of cost leadership, differentiation and focus. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this particular story. We are now going to move on to the last branch of the part 3, which is about crafting a strategy. We discussed corporate level, we discussed business level. Now we are going to discuss what is called as functional level strategies. So for everybody's sake who joined late, I'm just saying we are discussing phase 3. Now we have phase 3 broken down into 3 parts. Phase 3 we have already spoken about corporate level strategies. Phase 3 we've already talked about business level. And phase 3 was talking about functional level as well. Okay, so now we've discussed this and this. Now you're going to catch up with the functional level story here. And the functional level we have finance strategy, finance, marketing, HR, production, R&D, and finance, marketing, HR, production, R&D, and what am I missing? Logistics or inventory management. Okay, so those are the 6 areas of our discussion. I want to keep it sweet and simple because these are areas are also like that, nothing much to break our head. Some important points are there that I would like to discuss as part of this revision. Please do give a complete and thorough reading of each of the strategy later. Let's start with finance strategy. Now in finance strategy we have 4 points to cover. For every business, as I told you, Finance is considered to be the lifeblood of every business. So requirement number 1 from finance, you call it as acquiring needed source of capital. Acquiring needed sources of capital. Acquiring the needed sources of capital. Now when you say you are acquiring the needed source of capital, it could be, now here you talk about two things: debt, equity. So we have debt and equity, which is what we speak about in the acquiring needed source of capital. And after acquiring the needed source of capital, we talk about preparing budgets and forecasts. They are very important, preparing the budgets and forecasts. And because only when you prepare budgets, but again make sure that budgets don't substitute of your goals. Budgets are only a tool. There is a saying that budgets a tool in itself. Budgets a tool in itself. It's not an end. Understood? It's just a tool. It's not an end in itself. If I'm not sticking to the budget, then I'll sit and cry. That's not how you work around. Okay. So preparing budgets and forecasts, because budgets will help you anticipate things and understand what exactly you have to spend on, what not to spend on. I hope all of you did this chapter called budgetary control, wherein you prepared different budgets of cash budget, flexible budgets and all at various capacity utilizations at 60%, at 80%, how will it be? Sometimes fixed costs remain fixed while variable cost changes. I don't have to explain you how to do that basic fundamental aspects of budgeting, right? So preparing budgets and forecasts. And 3, management of funds. Getting funds is one story, but managing those funds efficiently is the other story. Management of funds, acquiring source of capital, preparing budgets and forecasts, management of funds, and towards the end we have a very important activity called as evaluating worth of a business. Evaluating worth of a business. Now this potentially is an exam question on evaluating worth of a business. We have 5 methods to evaluate worth of a business, so I'm taking this topic separately here. Evaluating worth. I'm going to write all the 5 parts here, so please. First one, is nothing but the shareholders funds method. First one is called shareholders funds. Now you know what shareholders funds are here. Net worth is equal to paid up capital plus free reserves, or paid up capital plus reserves, you can say. Or simply rather you can say the entire retained earnings. Net worth is paid up capital plus, or you can say total assets minus outside liabilities. I hope you know the formula there is no tension. Second method for evaluating worth of a business is net worth is equal to current year profit into 5. Net worth is nothing but current year profit into 5. Right. So what is this ballpark number? Yeah, you can take 5, but sometimes not a very attractive method, because if there is a high current year profit and suddenly you multiply it by 5, then the business valuation will go up so much. Maybe you have not performed that well in the past. So sometimes instead of current year profit, we might consider taking average net profit of 5 years. That also can be done. Then the third method is there. This third method has 3 sub methods. Point number 1 is nothing but a price of similar company. Price of similar company, that doesn't make any real sense. Price of similar company, just because they are priced so much, we will also be priced so much, makes no sense. It's just a ballpark number, rather more, like you can say, yes, so nobody does that. That's making no sense. But the next 2 methods are the most commonly used methods in the market. We'll take a fresh discussion on that. Net worth is equal to, net worth of an entity is equal to what? Average profit of last 5 years, average profit of last 5 years multiplied by the PE ratio. Now you know what PE ratio means, right? Market price of the share divided by earnings per share. MPS by EPS will give you the PE multiple or PE ratio as it's called. Take the PE multiple and multiply it with the average profit of the last 5 years. Then you are also going to get net worth. If that's not a favorite method for you, you want to do the last method. This is called as outstanding shares method. Now it's a very easy outstanding shares method. Net worth is equal to number of shares outstanding multiplied by market price per share plus premium. This premium is a per share value that you pay extra. Now let's say the market value of the share is 250 rupees. You're paying 260. So why are you paying 10 extra? That's how I attract them, no? Otherwise, if they sell in the open market itself, they're giving 250. Why will they sell it to me for the same price? I am offering something which they should get as a premium for acknowledging my offer, right? So that's what we are looking for here. The number of shares outstanding and multiplied by the market price per share plus the premium per share. That is what we have in terms of the net worth. That is, these two methods are more likely to be practically used, and because it's a very detrimental method, you can say price of a similar company, the most ridiculous thing I can ever hear. So just because Infosys and TCS do the same kind of business, can't say price of Infosys will be the price of TCS. Scales differ, sometimes our areas differ, expertise differ, and the price of a similar company is absolutely no measure. But still it's part of your 5 methods in the book, so I took that into consideration. So this could be a very much possible exam question, and it has been an exam question so many times, evaluating worth of a business. So without thinking twice, mark a couple of stars. Okay, right? That's the whole story here from the first strategy from the 6th chapter. Now before I want to pick up the marketing, that's the next strategy. I would also want to tell you that in the 5th chapter, there is a table towards the end of 5th chapter which is called the best cost provider strategy. Okay, now I want you to take a deep look at that paragraph, the table. What will a cost leader do? What will a differentiator do? What will a focused person do? And what will somebody called as the best cost provider do? Now best cost provider is a person. Whenever you're talking about best cost provider is a person who neither gives you at the least cost or highest cost. Nobody told you that it doesn't go by the cost, but it is the best cost wherein you have low price, many features, or rather you can say instead of many, you can, if you want, you can say upscale features. Okay, 2 things. So low price but many features. That's a story behind best cost provider. Please do take a look at the table. If anybody is willing to take a deep look at that, you can do that. It's a question that can also possibly be asked in the exam, but nothing much, because it's a combination of what will you do from all the 3 situations. So just don't miss to give a read there. Then we have I'm coming back to this chapter. We are now going to move on to the next strategy called the marketing strategy. Okay, marketing strategy. Anybody willing to type the 4 branches of marketing strategies or the 4 P's? You can obviously type in that. I'm waiting to see that. Marketing strategy is all about developing a marketing mix. Developing a marketing mix. Developing a marketing mix. Anybody interested in telling me what are the 4 P's? While developing a marketing mix, the right mix comes out of the 4 P's. What are the 4 P's involved is what my question is. Okay, you can already start seeing some answers. Very good. Okay, that's nice. A lot of people are getting this one right. Very good. Product, price, place, and promotion. Product, price, place and promotion are the 4 P's that are involved in developing a marketing mix. A right mix of all this only will make up a product, reach the customer. And can you also take one step further as part of what is called as extended marketing mix? Additional 3 P's are there. Extended marketing mix. Do I see answers for this one? This was an exam question last time. 3 P's of the extended marketing mix. Okay, very good. Lot of you have given answers. Product, price, place and promotion. That's really appreciable. Very nice. But now my question to the second one is little tricky. Most people don't concentrate on the next set of 3 P's. What are the 3 additional P's? Okay, do I see some? Okay, yes, there are a lot of answers to this one also. That's very good, very encouraging. These are people, physical evidence, people, physical evidence, and a process. These are called the extended P's. There's a question asked in the exam, guys, couple of time back, so there can always come back. These are the extra 3 P's. Okay, in the past, product, price, place and promotion worked very well. But a question basically asked is like, say, without HR, without people, what will you be able to do? And without physical evidence, how will you offer the product in the market? A market offering is generated only by way of a physical evidence. And then we are talking about a sequence of steps involved in fulfilling a particular job, which is only called as process. Okay, so that's what we have here in terms of developing marketing mix and the 3 P's. Now let me quickly take one-liners for each of this. Product is nothing but the good or service. Product is nothing but the good or service. Price is nothing but amount of money customer has to pay. Amount of money customer has to pay. Place is where product is available for sale. Where product is available for sale. And there are 4 forms of promotion. Do you remember anything of that? 4 forms of promotion? Or am I asking too much? This one, let's see how many people answered this one. 4 P's, many people answered. 3 P's, the number of people who answered have come down. Now, if I'm asking promotion, different forms of promotion, let's see how many people answer. Okay, Arjun is given 1. Promotion. Oh, finally I'm seeing some answers. No. Not, yeah, okay. Very good. Personal selling. Very good. Personal selling. Then there is a paid form of promotion called as advertisement. Paid form of promotion. The difference between advertisement and next one called publicity is that only. Publicity comes for free, while advertisement is a paid form of promotion. If it does not fall in A, B and C, that is personal selling, advertising and publicity, that is only called as a sales promotion. Anything and everything that you do other than this, like putting up a trade fair, exhibition, setting up a kiosk, anything, that could turn out to be called as sales promotion. And another important question that generally comes in the exam is about pricing, wherein we have 2 kinds of pricing. Okay, I will ask and then you guys can type the answer. In pricing we have 2. 1, setting up the price very high and then following it up bringing low. Then starting with low pricing, then taking it very high. What are these 2 called as? First one, I am asking you, what is setting it up a very high level, bringing it to a low level called as? Like what they do for mobile phones. When a new model of an iPhone is launched, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20,000, whatever they want, they'll price. 6 months to 8 months later, the same phone will be available for 70,000 or 80,000. Price will come down. What is it called as? Setting up a high price, bringing it low is called. Okay, that's amazing. A lot of answers. Very good. This kind of activity is called as the skimming pricing. While the other one strategy is very simple. Enter the market at a very low price. Attract people. Okay, enter the market with low price. Attract people. Get people used to your product. Get the people used to your product. And once they are used to your product, slowly increase the price, still they will buy. That is called as a penetration pricing. Penetrate the market with a very attractive price, small price, and then you can go with penetration pricing. Absolutely, very good, very good. Lot of correct answers for both these sorts of pricing methods. So I hope everything is clear with respect to this, and that brings us to the end of what are the 7 P's involved in marketing and what constitutes to marketing and all that. And now I would obviously not want to waste my time on discussing one-liners. So please, I'm giving you an option to go and read, because those are not very difficult to understand or something like that. Let's put our time on something else. So please read all the 13 different forms of marketing: social marketing, augmented marketing. In their name only it will be there. Augmented means something additional. Social marketing promotes a social idea or a cause. So like that, in demarketing is about bringing the demand down. It's either to reduce or shift the demand, like that. So every marketing form has a theme in itself, and that theme is discussed in the name only. So please make a clear understanding of those. The 13 forms of marketing are there, including one called as a demarketing. Please read demarketing again. Demarketing is not to destroy the amount, it is about temporarily or permanently reducing the demand. You're not killing the demand completely. So that's exactly the concept of marketing. So finance, marketing. Then production, we have very simple production system. There should be a production system where everybody has to follow a particular method of doing things. Then only, like how the raw material comes in to how finished goods go out. Important aspects are there. Everything in production. Okay, production system. What are you supposed to bother? If you pick up your book and see, you will have understanding of the words like capacity, location, utilization, the layout, the factory. All these things will be part of the production system. Whether this system is working properly or not, whether we are able to implement the strategies in our direction or not. If strategy is helping us achieve, very good. What if strategy is not helping us achieve? Then will we do something different, or will it be same? All these things are to be understood, and then there has to be a different way of how to do things, and that is only called as operational planning. Okay, two things here: production system and operation planning. They are the two parts of the story involved in production. Okay, so that's the first set of things that one needs to take into consideration. I just want you people to kind of go through with this one, what is there right now, because that shows everything clearly. Yeah, so that is something that you need to take a quick look at and make a note of. Pricing strategies and all that. So that is the story of marketing completely. So please take a look. Don't forget to make note of all those. We will now quickly discuss we'll now go ahead and discuss what is called as logistics or supply chain meanwhile. Okay, so that is what we are going to do in the next strategy, provided somebody has requested. So quickly take a look at the entire marketing. Maybe you want to write down something, or 4 P's, 3 P's, and then the pricing strategies and all that. And then we are moving on to what is called as a logistics strategy, wherein I have a question for you also. So we will discuss that. Okay, so seems like that's done. Let us move on now. Okay, so taking you through further will be the story here. Okay, so we're now moving on to discuss what is called as logistics. Okay, now when you say logistics, there's a stark difference between logistics and supply chain management. So let me, before going to the concept of supply chain management, talk about logistics. Now you all know that there are two things that are very important for bringing the raw material in, developing them into finished goods and sending them out. In the previous session we already discussed this in Michael Porter's value chain analysis, wherein inbound logistics, operations and outbound logistics, they were very important, right? Now, keeping that in mind, we are going to discuss five rights. Five rights. Now, I'm going to write the word right and then have five things attached to that. What is that? I'm going to deliver the right material to the right person, obviously at the right time, right place, very important, and then right cost. Okay, this is material, right? So that's why cost. Right material to the right person, the right time, right place and right cost. This is the agenda of every logistic idea. Now please understand, the same five rights will come even in supply chain management. Delivering the right product to the right person, delivering the right product to the right person at the right place, at the right time, at the right price. Hold on, I will tell you what exactly that means. Now herein we have logistics. Logistics is the mere movement and storage of goods. Logistics involve mere movement and storage of goods. Now I have taught this concept several number of times, and despite teaching it several number of times to people, they will still not tell me the definition or difference between logistics and supply chain management. This problem is always there. Okay, so now I want to clarify that once again, be very clear about it. Logistics talks only about mere movement. Logistic talks only about what? The mere movement, that is from the supplier to us and from us to the customer, and of course in between intermediate storage, which is in other words called as warehousing. So these are some important points that you need to keep in mind. Don't mess it up later. Logistics involves mere movement and storage of goods only. Logistics involve what? Mere movement and storage of goods. While supply chain management, now first and foremost thing, you understand that supply chain is different from supply chain management. Supply chain management is different. First let's talk about what is a supply chain. Many people, they don't understand this only. Supply chain. Supply chain is nothing but a linkage between supply chain is a linkage between what and what? Between supplier, a manufacturer and customer. These three here. Supplier, manufacturer and customer. Okay. These are the very important parts to the supply chain. Now managing the supply chain, which is a process of planning, implementing and controlling. The process of planning, implementing and controlling a supply chain activity is called as supply chain management. This is quite different from what we actually think. Supply chain and supply chain management are two different things. Okay, supply chain is a linkage. Supply chain management is a process which involves planning, implementing. Any management involves planning, implementation and control, right? So that is the story. And I see something missing here. So there is also right quality. One second, I missed it. Okay, so right, delivering the right material to the right person, the right time, right quality and cost. Place is not really a factor here, but still you can write that, it won't be a real problem. Okay, now if somebody asks you what is the difference between these two, logistics is only movement and storage of goods, while supply chain management, you can say, is an extension. Supply chain management is an extension of logistics. You need to understand this one. Okay, supply chain management ensures, again, right product is delivered to the right person, right quality, right place, right time and at right price, not cost this time, right price. So if you're seeing this for supply chain management, the story is going to be like this. Understood? So that's what we have in the concept of logistics and supply chain management. You might want to brush that topic through. So finance, marketing, production and logistics strategy. Now before I go to the HR strategy to tell you what exactly, I hope everybody knows what HR strategy involves, but before going there, we need to talk about one of the very important exam questions, which is called as the R&D strategy. I hope everybody is understanding. So that's our very first hour of discussion is, so I hope everybody is clear till here. So just give me a thumbs up there, or like say yes or something like that, so we can proceed further, discuss R&D and what do you say, this one, HR, and then move on to discussing the last two parts. So the next 1 hour of discussion is going to be about all those. So I hope everybody is able to follow the revision and able to get connected with it. So please, okay, I am seeing a couple of people answer or respond to that. I want a quick response to that. We will take this forward. Okay, that seems like very good. Yeah, going good till now, very good. So that's what even I expected it to be. Very nice. Right. Let's move on, guys. Now, the bigger question in R&D strategy is, should we do R&D or not? If we are doing R&D, what to do? That will be a secondary question. First, the bigger question is, should you do R&D or not? Now, let me keep this very easy. To discuss whether you want to do R&D or not, we got to talk about two factors. We got to talk about two factors, which is called as market growth and technology, or rather we'll say, we'll go with the words that are given so that everybody can connect. It's called pace of technological change. How fast technology is changing. Okay. Market growth. How is the market growth? What's the pace at which technology is changing? Whether should I do R&D or not? And then if so, where? This is a important thing to understand. If the answers to this is yes, we are doing R&D, then I will tell you what are the 3 strategies involved in doing the R&D. Now catch up this one. Market growth. If the market growth first combination is moderate, the market growth rate is moderate, whereas the pace of technological change is absolutely slow. Okay, you have technological change is going on here, but technological change is slow. So now when technology is changing slowly, it's okay. There is a time, things are cool. You can kind of, attempt to do the R&D. But when things take a turn or when things change, that's when the problem continues to be a different one. Okay, so are we going to do R&D here? Yes, we will be doing R&D here, but the next question will be, are you going to do R&D for yourself, or are you going to do R&D, will you be able to do the R&D by yourself, or are you going to outsource? That's the question. I'm sorry. Okay, so when you are talking about market growth rate being moderate and technological change is slow, you can do the R&D, and you can do the R&D in-house. Now what do you mean by doing R&D in-house? That is to you develop your own team and get going with the R&D, right? Then the second combination that we are talking about here is market growth rate is slow, but pace of technological change is fast. Market growth rate is slow only, no problem with respect to that. But the pace at which technology is changing, that's pretty slow. Now, when technology is changing slowly, we attempted to do the R&D. But when technology is fast, you will obviously not do R&D, because by the time you finish doing R&D and come out of that, the technology will change and you will end up developing something which is obsolete. Sir, then what do you expect me to do? Don't do R&D. No R&D. And when no R&D is there, this question of doing it where is not at all there. But you have a fast growing market. With a slow technological change. Now, what you need to understand is technology is changing slowly. No tension with respect to that. So you can definitely do it, which is not a problem at all. But market is very fast. So you are doing or not doing R&D totally depends on whether the technological change is fast or slow. So since it is slow, we will say yes. But the next question that you need to look at is where? Are you going to do it in-house? I'm already seeing answers of people typing outhouse. Outhouse or outsource? What is it called as? Outsource. Why do you outsource? See, market growth rate is very fast. Now, you can't take all the time in your world to slowly sit and do this, because by then market will change and things won't be the same. So therefore, do one thing. An R&D firm will be there who exclusively works on R&D. Outsource it to them. That's really amazing. Lot of you are answering it correctly. Very good. So this is the combination of stories here. Now the next bit of thing that one needs to understand is the last and the very critical combination. When both are fast, what do I do? When both are fast, what do I do? When both are fast, don't do anything, because it's not a great time to do R&D. Acquire a firm with R&D expertise. So if a firm already has R&D expertise, straight away go and acquire them. Don't try and do anything on your own. That won't be a great strategy to follow. Okay, so that is what the story is with respect to this entire concept. And once you decide that you will do R&D, you need to understand that this R&D strategy can be done in 3 ways. Okay, there are 3 ways of doing the R&D. 1. Be the first firm to do R&D. Be the first firm. to do R&D. So you be the first firm to do the R&D. 2, that is the second aspect that we are talking about. Somebody would have done. You just understand from that, and there be an innovative imitator. Be a innovative imitator of a successful product. Be an innovative imitator of successful products. The third combination, mass production with low per unit cost. Okay, now this is what we are supposed to actually do. Produce it in mass with a per unit cost of production. Now this is what China has been doing for quite some time. Okay, mass production with a low per unit cost. That is why the products are cheaper. Now there are a lot of products which are not of great quality, but because of the price at which they are available, and you see, look at the thing that they are also exported to countries which are price sensitive. Now like say most Chinese products have great market in India. Why? For a simple reason that we also have a huge population and there is a huge consumption. And when products are coming in, people here are very price sensitive, because whether you like it or not, major market is constituted with price sensitive customers only. We don't have, all of our population is not a very high income group, and not everybody can afford to buy only premium products. So there are a lot of people who are waiting for products to come at a cheaper price. So if products are coming at a cheaper price, then definitely we will buy it. Now the existential crisis here is, don't we have players in India who can do this? So if you have been following things very closely, there is an initiative by the Indian government right now which is called Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is to obviously self-suffice. Rather than bringing goods into the country, we obviously have production capabilities. Now one of the big reasons why production capabilities alone are not enough. See, you may be a great production capability, but if you don't have consumption, the very reason why countries like Japan and Korea are successful is they're small countries, they have huge production capabilities. They produce multi-fold the consumption patterns of their population. So if 10 items are produced in Korea, for every 10 units produced in Korea, there is only one in-house customer who can consume that, because they don't have so much population also. Then what is happening? They export so much. That's why you look at the global share of exports. Japan, Korea, their global share of exports is very high. So is China. And I'm not really hiding facts from you here. We have a high productive ability, but our export ratio compared to our productive ability is very, very low. Okay. But that's what we are hoping forward. Going forward, we do have to produce so much. Now, one of the major constraints for such big producers will be, if I produce so much and if I am unable to send it outside, what will happen? First, you should not have that fear. Just in case you have that. Our country is a huge populous country. We have so much consumption. So that is one of the reasons why now initiatives are being taken to grow the production levels. In-house demand is there? Yes, demand is there. Then sir, till now why are people buying only Chinese products? Why can't they buy Indian or Indianized or indigenous products? Why are people always looking at not just Chinese, any other product? Why not? Because like I said, their mass producing abilities have developed economies of scale for them. Understood? So these are the three ways of doing the R&D, and instead of being an innovative imitator, which might not be a very great attraction to a third party, or you trying to do something on your own which could kind of backfire sometimes and you might lose your capital. So mass producing with low per unit cost is also a great R&D strategy. Now you need a good amount of time to understand how to get this, and support from great strategists. All these are needed, and only then you will be successful with respect to these strategies. So that is what we have: R&D strategy and the three ways of doing the R&D strategy. Then moving up next is our next question. The last part of our discussion here in this chapter is called the human resource or the HR strategy. Now in HR strategy, you should be very clear about, first of all, what are the HR activities. Normally in HR, what are the activities? Because if you know what the HR activities are, then we can talk about what the HR manager is supposed to do. So what are the HR activities? First up, we talk about recruitment and selection. That's your very first step. Because selecting the right person, recruiting is a very important thing. We already discussed about staffing. Staffing is one of those important things of putting the right person in the right place. Same way here, recruitment and selection. 2 is about training. Okay, training. It's a very critical and important aspect which is called training. Training is all about making them get used to the environment, making them do things which are something in our organizational context. If you don't train them, they will do whatever they want. But if you train them to the way how they do our things, then that's what will channelizing their efforts in the right direction. So recruiting and selecting them, training. They train people, put them to job and make them do the same thing for years together, they will feel like donkeys. So you take some weight and throw on the donkey, put on the donkey and make it carry. Without asking any questions, the donkey will carry it. But there's a need for what is called as appraisal. Now why do I say that there is a need for appraisal? Logic is very simple. Time to time you have to appraise somebody's performance. You definitely can't go by simply taking them into consideration like that. So there is a need for you to do the appraisal. Appraisal is very critical. Time to time see. And when somebody does not match your level of appraisal, say bye. Here you are not doing any charity to keep resources on your head and unnecessarily incur an overhead. Not required. You're not doing any charity as I told you. So you can definitely let go of people who don't really need to be part of the story. Recruitment and selection, training, appraisal, which is called performance evaluation. In short, if you want, you can say that also. And lastly, the most important thing that binds anybody and everybody to something is the money aspect. So it's called compensation. It is said every management has this problem, compensating their employees. Compensation here is nothing but the remuneration that you pay. Always some people will be feeling that they're not happy about their compensation. They will always keep complaining. What sir, I'm doing so much of work but still they're not paying me high. And one of the biggest reasons why good employees leave the organization and go also is this compensation only. Okay, sometimes they may not really feel good about their compensation. They'll be like, no sir, I don't want to kind of work for this salary. Competitor is paying me more salary. They'll go off. So in order to not let them go, like the adhesive advertisement, Fevicol, like compensation is the Fevicol. Compensation is the glue that binds an employee to their organization. That's a line straight out of your book. So these are all HR activities. This is what we need to do. Time to time, appraise the performances. If they are not doing well, remove them from their jobs. If they are doing exceedingly well, give them bonus or give them some additional compensation. Make them stick to the business. The last part of our discussion here is the role of a HR manager. Oh, very good. I can see some answers there. You can give anything. Increase compensation in the likes of ESOP, stock options, sweat equity shares, whatsoever name called as. Right? You can give them additional allowances. You can give them special facilities. Maybe you can, sometimes some organizations offer the employees to a new house, maybe a car, whatever. It depends. Just make them stay with us. Now most people adopt to ESOPs. That's the best way to give them stock, so that they don't feel anymore like an employee. If I'm holding shares of that company, I'm literally the owner, right? Equity shareholders are the real owners of the entity. So give shares, make them be part of our entity. That's what Infosys does. Okay, Infosys gives stocks to almost all its employees, so that they just don't feel that they are above a particular cadre, obviously not to every employee, above a particular, why? Because they are critical for the success of the organization. They stay there with the organization. If you want them to do that, this is what it is. And then every HR manager, the 7 jobs here: providing purposeful direction, providing a purposeful direction. Don't make them walk meaninglessly. I told you already, the path that we are walking, destination should be very clear. Where are we heading? What we are actually doing, that part. Provide a purposeful direction. 2. Create a competitive atmosphere. Create a competitive atmosphere. And then let's talk about creating a competitive atmosphere within the organization, a healthy competition. People should be able to, work together in coordination, and they should be able to do something for the organization for a collective growth. So provide them with a purposeful direction, create a healthy and a competitive atmosphere, bring change in the organization, facilitation. Okay. Facilitation of change. Facilitating that change that their people are interested in, otherwise people won't be there as part of the story. So facilitation of change, empowerment of employees, or empowerment of HR, rather you can say empowerment of HR. And then as a HR manager, you help them build core competencies, Then we talk about also, what am I missing? We talk about culture, developing work ethics and culture, but I'm missing one point. That's the last point. Culture is the last point, and anybody giving me that point that I missed here? Point number 7 will be developing work ethics and culture. I'm pretty sure about that. No, I missed this. Is there okay, I'm looking at your answers. Is there anybody who's giving me, what did I miss? Providing purposeful direction, creating competitive advantages, facilitation of change. Let me see the comments. Oh yeah, yes, Jyoti, very good. Workforce diversity or diversion of workforce. Thank you. Okay, sometimes I miss, no problem. Workforce diversity. Having young and old workers, having male and female workers, having experienced people and having less experienced people, skilled and unskilled. You got to manage the right balance, managing the workforce diversity. So all these are the what do you say, the role of a HR manager, and without he or she doing this, could create a great problem for the organization. And if the organization has to be potentially a successful one, okay, then it has to work in that direction and it has to come out in that particular fashion. So these are all the points that one need to keep in mind for what is called as role of HR manager. So that brings us to the end of phase 3. Phase 3 is all about the 3 strategies: corporate level, business level, and functional level strategies. So let me quickly remind you what we discussed. We discussed phase 1 in our previous session. We already discussed phase 1, vision, mission, objectives and goals. Phase 2, we discussed the entire concept of strategic analysis and all the story of strategic analysis. Phase 3, wherein we discuss about strategic crafting a strategy or strategy making. We say crafting strategy, which is obviously broken down into the 3 strategies of corporate level, business level and functional level. So I hope everybody has understood till here. This is 75% of your syllabus. I hope everybody has understood this 75% of syllabus. The previous one where we elaborately explained and discussed. Let me see if we can go there quickly by taking cues from here. Yes, I guess we can do that. I have a scroller so we can go pretty fast. Okay, so this was the definition of strategic management. Right now that's pretty clear on your screen. You can see that phase 1 talks about vision, objectives and goals. Phase 2 talks about strategic analysis. Phase 3 is all about crafting a strategy, which is what we discussed in detail. And now we will obviously go ahead and discuss some important aspects of the implementation. And we also have to discuss the last part here, control. So control is about taking corrective actions, at what levels we will take control and where we will take control is also something that we are going to discuss. Now as part of implementation, we have to discuss a few concepts which is called as organization structures. And then after organization structures, we have the concept of strategic leadership. Then we have the concept of strategy and culture. Okay, so these are the major parts of our discussion in this phase 4. Then we will also obviously discuss about strategic change. We got to bring about a change, and how will you bring about the concept of strategic change. And then lastly, the aspect of strategic control. These are all the last step is control. So now we get on to implementation. Now before we go on to implementation, I want you to understand that there is one detailed video that I've already made about strategic management structures. Okay, right from functional, divisional, multi-divisional structure, everything was explained in detail. That was a live session back then I did. It's part of the it's in the tuition.in channel. So if somebody wants to view the entire structures in detail, I'm not saying that you might want to find it. If you find it, I don't know if that video is still there or not. So anyway, I'm going to discuss the structures orally with you. But if somebody wants to understand the structures a bit more detail, read them once completely in greater detail. Now I don't have the luxury of time here, so I'm going to cut short and discuss what each structure actually means, and then we are going to quickly move on to other topics. So taking you further here, so I hope everybody is seeing what is there on screen. That's a very important thing. So let me just move on to this part. Okay, there you go. We talk about phase 4. Now, as a matter of fact, in phase 4, what we will be talking about is called as, in phase 4, first we are going to discuss organizational structures. Now, let me first list down all the structures for you here. We have an organizational structure which is called as functional structure, which is first called as functional structure, then divisional structure, multi-divisional structure, an SBU structure, network structure, matrix structure, an hourglass structure, and beyond all this and most easiest one, the first one is called simple structure. Okay, so these are the structures that are discussed. I will give you an oral intro and idea about all these once again, just to remind you what exactly are these structures doing, and you can obviously give a complete reading because it's a very vast and wide topic. Content is simple, but only thing you have to sit and read. The simple structure is used in organizations where there is a single owner who is the manager, who takes decisions and all that. The rest of the people just simply listen to him. So one owner, and even if there are 20 people, they will all listen to the owner. So basically the owner is a decision maker and he will take all the decisions, and that is why this is titled as a simple structure. Okay. But when this goes a little broader, and this develops into a classification function wise. Okay, there is a CEO on the top, and under the CEO there is all corporate heads. that is the different heads of department. Here we have corporate finance, corporate marketing, corporate R&D, and we have logistics and corporate production ahead. So we now are going function wise, and then we classify them into finance, marketing heads. So all these corporate heads will be there, and then we classify the entire business into finance, marketing departments, HR, production, inventory management. So this will be the ideal way of dealing things here. So this one is used more likely in a single person structure, sole proprietor controlling the whole thing. This is a small business with limited number of activities, because when the number of activities exceed your managerial levels, so if there are too many things to manage, then that will automatically become a big point of discussion. So how can you kind of try and avoid that? That's also an important question here. Okay, so what you need to take into consideration when you are discussing the functional structure is how well your functional structure can be designed. That is also an important question to be answered. Okay, this one. Now when functions don't go through in a great manner, what happens is we step down into a divisional structure. Okay, and you know what happens in a divisional structure? This time it avoids the overall responsibility being given to a CEO. If there is anything good also, you are recognizing them only. If there is anything bad also, you are scolding them only. So that's not how you do things, right? So in a divisional structure, you know what, CEO is there. Let the CEO be there wherever he is. Okay, let's not disturb him. Under the CEO, and in fact, let the corporate level also be there like that only. The corporate finance, corporate R&D, the corporate logistics, the corporate level, let it continue to be there as it is. No. Instead of going function wise, we'll do one thing. We'll take this level, we'll go based on divisional. So here we will have division 1, and this division 1 is headed by a divisional manager 1, and then we'll put another guy here, divisional manager 2. Under him we will have finance, marketing, HR, production, inventory, all that, same 5 this side also. What is the advantage of doing like this? First of all, accountability is split. In this, no, if one business is doing well and one business is not doing well, the profits of one business get compensated by the loss of the other. So overall business, the projection can't be shown, and you can't project it to be a very good business. The problem being, everything will be blamed on CEO. Let's not do that. Think of a company like HUL or ITC, something like that. They're dealing in so many products, right? So the best thing that we can easily do there is split it into divisions. Division 1, Division 2, I can take Division 2, Division 3, as many divisions as you want. And under each divisional manager, put the respective number of people. Things become even more easier in that context. So this is what divisional structure is all about. Now when divisional structure can be broken down into specifically demarcated businesses. Sir, how can we break divisions? You know how you can break divisions, right? Divisions can be broken down geographic area wise, divisions can be broken down product wise. There are different ways how divisions can be broken down. Multi-divisional, or this is called M form or rather, you break them down into divisions which on their own can be classified as a separate businesses. Okay, so that is what a multi-divisional, same looking structure, but in divisional and multi-divisional the difference is, in divisional there may be only one product, but the same product, because of regions and all that, you can specifically demarcate them into separate business. But when there are more products, each product being separately classified, like where there is a possible to classify them as an own business, that will be called as a multi-divisional. Then comes your favorite one, the SBU. Now in our previous session, we already discussed about what constitutes to an SBU, right? SBU is nothing but a key business unit. SBU is a key business, and not only SBU being a key business here, SBU is a single business. SBU is a single business or collection of related businesses. SBU is a single business or collection of related businesses. Now we all know that. So then you do one thing. This time we go for a group. Now like say you have the Tata Sons group or the Birla group, wherein we have a president for that group. We make somebody a president, which is in other words nothing but the corporate level only. And all these people who are in the corporate level, we can put them up here. Okay. So this is what will be the corporate level. Same. President, the group for the entire group, and all those people will be there. Then in the second level, this time we will not have divisions or functions. This time you know what we'll have? We'll have SBUs. SBU 1. Then SBU 2. SBU 3. SBU 4. Depending on how many ever SBUs. In my example, I am taking 4. If you have less, you keep it less. If you have more, you can obviously describe them in more SBUs. Okay. So SBU 1 is further divided into divisions now. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and under each division, like you have finance, marketing, like this is, under each division you have this structure. So this, what you see here, that is right about this, like that we are bringing that and putting that piece here. So one group president is there, this is level 1, SBU level, each SBU will be headed by a manager, you know this, right? So each SBU will have a manager, that is at level 2, and this divisions and subdivisions under them will be level 3. Now, this is when SBU 1 is a collection of several businesses. Let's say SBU 2 is there, which is having no business under them. So straight will be that only. Under them all divisions will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now SBU 3 is a collection of 2 businesses. We will have them again, division 1, division 2, and under them. So I hope you understood. This is a broad structure, very big groups. The Tata Sons and their bunch of Tata group as a whole. Maybe you can even SBUs, each SBU has its own manager. Each SBU has its set of own competitors. You know these characteristics. The reason that we studied in the past is for this reason only. So we didn't like functional because functional structure accountability was too much on the top, so we broke it down into divisional structures. Then from divisional structures we emerged into multi-divisional. Once again I am telling the difference between divisional, multi-divisional, just be clear. Divisional structure you saw, we are splitting the entire business into divisions. Some of the divisions may be related. There might be only one product, but we may have many divisions, maybe based on geography or some other process or some reason, we can split them. But multi-divisional is not like that. Multi-divisional is an M form. In the sense, multi-divisional businesses where each division can be handled as a separate business. It's more like an SBU structure, but in SBU you can group related businesses. In divisional structure, you only classify them into divisions. A multi-divisional is an intermediate between these two. Definitely we are following the concept of divisions, but we are not grouping them. One division of a multi-divisional structure is capable of being established as a separate business. That much you remember. So I hope that serves everybody's purpose down there in these 5 simple, functional, divisional, multi-divisional and SBU structures. Okay. Then comes the 3 new age structures with the no structure or non-structure, that is only called as a network structure. We will have one headquarters in the center, other jobs are all outsourced. Okay, whoever is good at finance will be outsourced to them, HR is outsourced to a HR agency, marketing is outsourced to an advertising agency, like that. You do what you are good at, and right now the strategic buzzword in the market is outsourcing. Do what you are good at, rest of them just outsource. That's all about the network structure. Actually network structure has a no structure like this, but since you are studying about networks in IT or you're seeing what networks are, same thing. one central hub to connect, rest all are different parts of the world. So like how US, lot of companies in the US have outsourced all their tech supports to Indian companies, lot of US companies have outsourced all their accounting down here. That's one of the reasons why you have so many BPOs here. We in India doing so much of IT work and outsourced IT and BPO work. The founders or founding partners of their organizations are there abroad in the US. From there a lot of work has been outside work here. Okay, so that is the thing with respect to network structure. And the next structure that is going to be discussed is called a matrix structure. The best thing about matrix structure is it is both vertical and horizontal. The connects are both vertical and horizontal. So there will be a CEO, and then we have product managers here, right? They act as brand managers. Product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, like that we have managers. Now we have the same guy doing the work again and again. Maybe this guy who's doing marketing here might be doing the marketing for product 2 also. We use a matrix structure when resources are scarce. So marketing, finance, HR, production. If this is the story, then you will continue to do things like this. Okay, make the same guy do more than one. Now apart from this guy being linked to this product directly, he is also linked to another product or is linked to a manager. So both vertical and horizontal flows both are there in a matrix structure. Just like how you do the mathematical problems, rows and columns, same thing. So here when resources are scarce, we end up putting the same guy who is doing marketing for product 1 to do marketing for product 2. Or maybe they are two different people, but they are not just horizontally connected to their own department, they also go beyond the boundaries from that and they are contained to another product also. So what is the advantage of doing this? Now most startups, what they do, the same guy does more than one job. There is in the beginning who has so much money does specifically demarcated department. So we do this. We start as an experimental go here. Let's say P4, the new product has been introduced. Same guys have been given the job to do things for P4. Now when P4 has been rolled out and when P4 starts to work out, then we will categorize it as a separate department, workable, and then we will put that as a separate unit and all that. So that is exactly what we have in terms of a matrix structure, wherein adding a new division or removing an existing division becomes slightly easier than the others. Then the last structure that we have is called an hourglass structure. An hourglass structure has a wide top layer, very narrow middle layer, and a widest of the bottom layer. Okay, wide top layer, constricted or narrow middle layer, and wide operational level. So many people are there who are there to execute the jobs. Good number of people, as much as required to do the top corporate jobs, they are also there. Both are there. But the middle layer, who earlier, middle layer is a big source of loss of our entire, I shouldn't say that exactly, but if there is so many number of people in the middle layer, lot of money gets wasted in management itself. So when you end up managing so many people in that level, so that you don't end up unnecessarily wasting time on all this. Okay, so that is a very important point or a cause of concern, you can say. So this hourglass structure is asked in the exam in the past. It can be asked again. In fact, any of these structures can be asked again because they always are examiner's favorite. One of those questions can always come in the structures. Okay, I know it was a little difficult to catch up every point which is being discussed. I do see many of you answering that, and I also explained what is divisional and multi-divisional a couple of times. Please give one more reading. I hope you will understand all the structures now that we have the overview. So that's how I can help you for now, because going more detailed into each structure will not fulfill our purpose. Then let's move on to leadership. Strategic leadership is a very important concept. Who is a leader? somebody who takes responsibility, who has an ability to envision, think in terms of future and understand what good things you can do for future. Now what you will, now the decision that you take will affect the future of an organization. So therefore you have to bring into consideration all these under the concept of leadership. And there are some very interesting quotes about leadership. Leader is not somebody who will sit on the top, somebody who stays ahead of their troops and shows them the way. That is what leadership is all about. And if there is anything that can come in the exam from leadership, then there are three major parts of the questions. First one is called roles of a leader. Then we have responsibilities of a leader, and then we have the types of a leadership style. Okay, so roles of a leader. If you're saying what are the roles of a leader, 5 roles are there. Staying on top of what is happening, promoting a feeling of togetherness, that's called a culture of esprit de corps. I don't know if you've heard that in the past or not. Esprit de corps is a feeling of pride or togetherness or fellowship of being associated with a group. I feel proud to be part of the Indian Army. I feel proud to be a member of the ICI. We feel proud being part of a particular group, right? That's called esprit de corps, a culture. Okay, so staying on top of what is happening, promoting the culture of esprit de corps, keeping the organization responsive to changes. You all know that environment is not stable, it is dynamic, it keeps changing from time to time. And when environment keeps changing from time to time, a leader is somebody who has to take these strict decisions of making the change. You can't fold your hands and sit and say, okay, let's wait for things to cool down. It's not going to happen. So stay on top of what's happening, know what's happening, respond to that situations, and just as a leader set an example, because one of the main roles of a leader is to be ethically responsible. Tomorrow people look up to you. If leader himself is corrupt, then what will the followers actually think about? So exercising ethics leadership is very important. So staying on top of what is happening. Esprit de corps is a French terminology. So staying on top of what is happening, esprit de corps, what did I say? Changes in environment, exercising ethics leadership, and the last point I guess is to push corrective actions, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, push corrective actions. A good leader is somebody who is ready to accept criticism. Good leader is somebody who is ready to accept criticism. He will be ready to take it. If somebody tells something, be like, who are you to tell me? Why should I listen to you? Without all that ego and other things. It's very important that we come forward and take up that. Yeah, okay, I understand that I am part of this. So I have to take a corrective action. I might want to understand what happens to me. All those are something we have to really take up from the feedback. Somebody who doesn't like feedback. Now this is not just for a leader, for every one of us. Somebody who doesn't like taking a feedback. I mean, there is a scope for improvement or progress. We'll always keep cursing that they told this, they told that, but we will never do something right. Okay. So these are the roles of a leader. A few responsibilities are there. He is responsible for making decisions and managing the change in the organization. Like that, a couple of responsibilities are there. Please take a list of those responsibilities. I think 5-6 points are there here, to be precise, be 7 points what the responsibilities are. I don't want to just read out all the 7 points because I have something important to discuss in leadership which has come so many times in in the exam, which is transformational leadership style and transactional leadership style. Those are the two leadership styles here, transformational leadership style and transactional leadership style. Now if you say what is transformational leadership style, this is by way of creating an enthusiasm, by way of a speech, motivating the followers to do something. Okay, that is exactly what transformational leadership style is all about. We speak, we motivate our followers to do something, and then it's more used in unstable environments. Okay, that too in the beginning and end of life cycles. You know why? Because both in beginning and end we don't have money. When money is there, money speaks for itself. When money is not there, only all philosophy will come into existence. So if you want to get people to do things, if you pay them money, they will anyway do it. So money is already a great motivating factor, but that's not what we are doing. I will give you money, you give me this. That give and take is not happening. Here we are giving, like say, a new startup. Somebody came down there, gave a great speech, people got inspired. The leader's persona, right? The way he is, a charismatic behavior, and the way how he empowers people to create an enthusiasm. After you listen to the speech, you are like, wow, I'm impressed. Let me now do what they told. That is called, what do you say? Transformational leadership style, where before the speech and after the speech there is a great deal of a change, transformation. If you want to keep it as a formal give and take in a well settled environment, if you want to do things in a well settled environment where you don't want to complicate too many things, you want to keep it easy, then in that well settled environment we can go for give and take. Here we go by rewards and punishment. We go by what? Rewards and punishment. It's not a serious problem here. We just go for rewards and punishment strategy. If they do well, we'll give rewards. If they're not doing something well, then we'll punish them. As simple as that. Okay. These are only in the likes of increments, bonus, whatever you say, by whatever name you call them. That is what they are all in the nature of transactional leadership. So a simple give and take, done in well established and stable environments. If environment is unstable, or rather you use the word in your book, turbulent environments where there is no stability, turbulence is there, you go for transformational leadership style. So those are the structures, those are leadership part. And then culture. Please do read things about culture. Culture is I hope everybody knows what culture is. Culture is nothing but a behavior, belief, trends, patterns, what we follow from years, tradition, whatever name you want you can give. Culture is about how a group of people come together and behave in an organization. Every organization should have an organizational culture. If the culture of an organization, if strategy and culture, if the strategy and culture are out of sync, now just take this from me, if strategy and culture are out of sync, that means they are not in matching with each other. That's it. Culture is going in this direction or strategy is in this direction, you are never going to achieve the strategy, and that's not a healthy practice also, because that is not how ideally you treat things. So therefore, if you want strategy and culture, if you want strategy and culture to work together, you need to communicate people, you need to initiate some culture changing actions. So from a long time I didn't ask question, so I'm now willing to ask a simple question, yet I want people to respond to this with a little care and caution. There is a strategy on hand, there is a culture which is already prevailing in the organization. Will you change the strategy to suit the culture, or will you change the culture to suit the strategy? Not very, very tricky, just try to understand the reality, okay? So my question is very simple. After a long time I'm asking you, I'm just wanting people to try and explain, not explain this, just answer. Change culture to match strategy, or change strategy to meet it with culture. Okay. Okay, fantastic. I am like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay, fantastic. Collectively around 10 people have, 10 people have answered, and collectively everybody has given wrong answer. Fantastic. Okay, enough now, enough. Please don't. Abhijit says culture change is complicated. Somebody else also said strategy can be changed but not culture. Please go and find if there is any line like that in your book. No offense, but please understand. strategy can be changed, culture also can be changed. Please go and pick up this paragraph in your book when you discuss about culture. There is one paragraph towards the end of the topic called as culture changing actions. Okay. When you are saying in the beginning of this chapter, there is one theory by Chandler. Okay, Chandler cycle. There is a beginning of 7th chapter in the first page. There will be one first page, the second page, wherever, go and see. There will be one Chandler cycle. And according to Chandler, he very clearly puts up this thing which is very easy actually to understand. You know, whenever you change the strategy, new organizational problems emerge. I mean, if you change strategy from tomorrow, that new strategy is going to sink in, settle in, super fantastic. It's not going to happen like that. Sometimes they go out of whack. Out of whack means they don't match. So, yeah, maybe once in a while you will change your strategy to meet the culture. Once in a while. Like most of you answered here, change the strategy, not culture. I know why you told that. Because you think changing culture is a big task. Sir, you are asking me to change the way how parents or grandparents think. It's very difficult because culture is deeply rooted in them. Now, you can't walk up to your grandfather or grandmother or any elders for that matter who have observed something for 25 years, 30 years and say, what nonsense, in today's time, who does this? Like, we are in a society where superstition, belief, there are a lot of things. Anyway, let's not get in there. People have given a name to it called culture, tradition. There are a lot of good things are there. Sometimes some aspects are tedious, may not make sense in today's time. But some people may still wish to follow all that. No offense. I am not complimenting anybody. I am not scolding anybody. All I am saying is that's what is called culture. Culture is the way of doing things. In our organization, we may be doing such things, which other organization be like, what is this primitive methods? Okay. So, some people are in that old mindset. It works also for them. Nothing wrong. Okay. So, there are very simple things which are followed blindly in the name of culture, which are very good for the organization also. But there is one line in your book. I want you to go and check that particular line. Changing strategy to suit the culture is occasional, very rare. To change strategy to suit the culture. Okay, if they are out of whack, that is out of sync, changing culture to meet the strategy is what you need to actually do. That's when organization as a whole will progress. If culture is stable and to suit that old archaic primitive methods, if you keep making one strategy, you will be there only. Culture can be changed. Only thing, it takes time. Changing culture overnight is not possible. Okay? Changing the culture overnight is not possible. But you can change the culture provided you have time, patience. You have to conduct meetings, explain people the importance of cultural change. Make them understand why culture needs to be changed. So, is culture really required? Yes. Sir, is culture a pathway for our success or is culture a stumbling block? Cultures definitely can act as both. If the culture and strategy are in sync, it's a pathway for success. If the very same culture acts as a stumbling block when it is not matching the strategy. So 4-5 points are there, 4-5 paragraphs are there under the heading strategy and culture. Please read them once again thoroughly. Essence is already told to you. Whatever I told you is only the essence. They will convey the same point. Last paragraph in that is culture changing actions. Changing culture is not an overnight task. It's to be done periodically by making people understand. All this is given in your book. Please sit and patiently take a reading. Okay. Don't simply go blindly by a lawyer. Changing strategy is easy. We only made no such strategy, so we will only change it up. It's very easy. That's not the idea. So please be mindful of that one particular thing. So that brings us to the end of chapter 7, which talks about organizational structures, strategic leadership and culture. Coming down to the last part, and phase 5 is about strategic control. So before going to strategic control, the last part of phase 4 is called strategic change. Now again, culture change or strategic change is definitely not a overnight task. Be like, yeah, yesterday I decided that I will change. Now I'm going to definitely do that change. That's not going to happen like that. Okay. Changing culture or bringing any change in the organization takes a little bit of time. It's not going to happen just like that as you, sir, I thought so, we changed it off. No. So first and foremost thing, when you are bringing about any change, do you really need that change? Don't complicate it further. It's called recognize the need for change. Recognize need for change. Okay, recognize the need for change. Then create a shared vision. Tell everybody that this is our vision and share that vision. If you keep the vision in your mind, where are you going to succeed? So create a shared vision. You do something, each one of them does something, then collectively all of us can achieve something much better. So recognize the need for change, create a shared vision, and then I think you should make that change of your own, which is called as institutionalizing the change. Yes, very good. Now I see people typing some interesting things which they know about change. Very good. Two things they typed. Yes, one, we have a Kurt Levin's change process, no doubt. If they ask you elements of strategic change, you have to write this. Don't write Kurt Levin. They'll specially mention in the exam. Write the steps involved in Kurt Levin's change process. Unless they use the word Kurt Levin, don't write these 3 steps. Already some people have typed the answer. Very good. What is it? Unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. I hope everybody knows this. Unfreezing, changing, and refreezing. And how to change? Change again, suddenly it won't happen. So H.C. Kelman has proposed 3 steps in changing also. One is called compliance. That means just meet it. Like how we pay taxes. Statutory. Just comply. Don't ask questions. Why should I do? Why should I? Don't ask. Just follow. Now you want to make a change. You want to start getting up at 6 o'clock instead of 7:30. Daily you're sleeping and getting up at 7:38. Instead you want to get up at 6 o'clock. Sir, how do I get up at 6 o'clock? Get up at 6 o'clock. That's all. Comply that. Put an alarm, hit it on snooze, sleep again. That's not what you do. Just you want to get up, get up. Comply. Meet the requirement. Compliance. Okay. And 2, sir, how should I comply? I'm not getting that feel. So then you're not getting a feel. Then you need to do one thing called as identification. Identification is a very important exercise. It's about finding a role model for your own self or whatsoever, some thought. See, somebody who's having a desire to do something from inside, they don't need all the external factors. Before sleeping in the night, you go and tell your mom, please wake me up at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock when she comes to wake you up in the morning, you'll be like, yeah, 5 minutes late. She'll also be okay, and because it's not her goal. You gave her the instruction, please wake me up. Some moms do voluntarily also, thinking that their very productive effort is sleeping so unproductively, if you understood what I mean. Okay. So, if you are sleeping rather unproductively without doing anything, and if you want to bring a change, alarms will not bring change, alarms only trigger, that's all. When an alarm is ringing and you put it on snooze and sleep again. So when change needs to occur, change should not come as a surprise. Daily you are getting up at 8 o'clock, your body is used to that. You want to get up at 6 o'clock, gradually. You have to give yourself time to adjust to that. And the time to adjust should not be 2 months. Okay, in 2-3 days, pattern wise things have to change. Or maybe in a week's time, then it will become a habit. That's when you refreeze it. First, stop whatever you are doing, unfreezing the situation, breaking old attitudes. 2, changing the situation by complying, identifying, and internalization. You know what is internalization? Like I just said, it should come from within. Okay, it should come from within. It should not, like I said, if you have a goal will wake you up. You don't, really have to worry about. We all do that on a day which is very critical. When you are going out on a travel, no, you have plan with friends. Like you want to start 7 o'clock in the morning. Normal days you won't get up till 8 o'clock in the morning. That day you will get up at 6 o'clock. Some people won't sleep all night. In the anticipation of doing something, exciting tomorrow, because that's what excites you. We all know this. We all have gone through this same thing, when we don't want to do something next day. That time also you will not sleep. You'll be like, you are irritated about the fact that you have to do it tomorrow. Okay, sometimes you are so restless that let the dawn break, I want to go. Why is it happening? Because of internalization. You realize that it's so important for you, and do the same thing. Now I have already told you, I don't want to sound very philosophical here, but I told you already, this is how human life also works. This is what works for your exam also. So, most people, instead of reading strategic management book as a simple syllabus, if you can read and understand the entire concept of strategic management as a way of life, there are so many things where you can apply many of these concepts. And Kurt Levin's change process is something that it's a great friend if you can practice that, because there are so many things which going forward in your life, or doing now, or a career as a chartered accountant, you need to be very strong in so many areas. It's not just about the exam. Most number of times what people do is, they give up easily. Why do they give up easily? Is because they don't want to try it again. And not that everybody happily gives it up, saying that, okay, I give up. So some people want to do it, but still they can't. Why? Because they're not able to break that barrier. And that's exactly where you need to unfreeze. Okay, gone is gone. Now, like say, when it comes to a business, it could be about a wrong strategy. Gone, that strategy is not working. Unfreeze it. Don't do it. Bring a new strategy. Change the strategy. Make it follow. See if it works. Once it works, refreeze it. Job done. Yeah, it takes time, it takes effort, but nothing like Kurt Levin's change process. Very much applicable for you and me. You can always do that. See, when you want to bring an element of change, it's not something that can be bought from something, external factor. You can't walk into a store and say, I want change. They'll give you, what is that, currency, monetary change. If you give a 100 rupees note, taking 10 rupees note, that's not what the change that we're talking about here, right? So it's not exchange, give and take. It's effort that you need to put in to bring that change. I told you a very simple example. When people try to alter their sleep patterns, how difficult it is. And that is why you feel more restless about it. Most people, they don't feel like doing it, but they still forcefully do it. You see so many people when they are traveling through not when they are driving, but when they are traveling in cabs and all that, you see them, they put their head on the window and sleep. You are going to your workplace, right? If you are going to a particular workplace and you are going to work there for so many hours in a day, you got to be excited about what you are going to do. I'm not saying everybody should do that. Now, those of them who are driving and going, they can't have the luxury to sleep. But others, lot of people, they use the time to sleep. Maybe that's their strategy, because they're using that time other than that to do something else. But some people are very disappointed. They always compensate the disappointment with sleep, which is what most CS students also do. I don't want to extend much on this topic, but this topic itself is such a great help for us. Most of us, our syllabuses are vast. Most number of times when people sit with books, the first thing that happens to you is you get prone to sleep. I shouldn't be talking all this in the first week of October, but it's not too late either. Understood? So in the last 20 days, you got to give twice the effort that you did. If somebody feels that they are not up to the mark, then bring those changes. Yeah, it will be difficult for a day or two. Okay? Or maybe you got up early, you got a headache. Someday it happens with me also. Right now, when classes were there, I used to take a very early morning class for CA final and all, or even for inter. Then 6:30 I used to be in the class. Post pandemic, I extended my night time, and the early mornings have gone now. If tomorrow class starts again at 6:30 in the morning, where things get back to normal, where I have a 6:30 class, we have to adjust it. You can't say throughout the pandemic for like 6 to 8 months, I've changed my schedule. I used to, be awake in the night. I used to get up late in the morning. You can't have excuses like that for anybody. And all I'm saying is, this bringing about change is not just in business, it's needed for us. Okay, I believe I took the extra 5 minutes liberty to lecture you on that change part, because in 1 month's time, you are writing something which is going to decide what you want to do further. So make sure that you put in those extra hours or extra time, make sure that this is fruitful. So that's the last concept in phase 4, bringing about that strategic change that is needed in the organization. Then comes a factor of evaluation. Now generally what happens, in evaluation, this is the problem in evaluation. In evaluation, we always tend to compare what and what we need. In evaluation, what we need versus what we got. So we check the results, okay, we check the results versus our desired requirements. It's a very simple equation. Compare strategy as planned versus strategy implemented. Are they both the same? Are we getting the desired results? Are we getting the desired results in the time frame? Now sometimes we get desired results but they are too late. Okay, so please make sure to evaluate yourself, which is also one of the points to pick up from our side. So that's where we say mock exam. Do a mock. Write one mock exam for yourself. It's nothing but evaluation. I studied so much. This is my exam paper. And you don't have an external agency to sit and confirm that. You can yourself pick up the key paper and check that. So evaluate yourself. And that's when you know what your mistakes are, how many you are not able to answer, what is that you are not able to do. All of this you will be able to take care. Always evaluation is followed up by an aspect called as strategic control. A strategic control works in many ways, because when planned aspects are going as per the, when aspects are going as planned, nobody needs any control. But when we miss it, that's when we need a control. Now, in my very first discussion with you, in the first 10 minutes of my revision series, I discussed with you the 3 levels in the organization, which is about functional level, starting with corporate level, business level and functional level. At all levels, planning is done, correct? At all levels, planning is done. So control also is done at all 3 levels. Controls broken down into 3 levels here. Operational control, which is at functional level. This deals with efficiency and stuff. Now you know what efficiency means. There is a workable input-output ratio. If we are giving, perfect, very good. Somebody is typing the right answer there. Standard costing, we do right. This was budgeted. This was actual. Compare it, do a variance analysis and then check out efficiency. Okay, how much resource are we putting? We have to do an optimum utilization. Is that happening or not? So if you read the operational control paragraph, it talks about that only. Because at operational level, we are all bothered about what is called as efficiency. Then comes managerial controls. Now the major job of managerial level is optimum utilization of resources. Optimum utilization of resources. What do you mean by optimum utilization? You have, we have limited resources. We have so many requirements. When we have to match it to such a way, the management is putting up people who can do this effectively. That matching part, whoever can do this effectively, that's what is called as the managerial control. Operational control talks about efficiency. Managerial control talks about optimum utilization of resources. When then comes the top level control, strategic control. This is not a simple task. It involves control. Strategic control is further broken down into our premises, the area that we are surrounded by, which is called premise control. Then we have what is called as special alert controls. Floods and other situations which we don't anticipate them, but suddenly they may come. And when they come, what are you doing? Are you prepared for them? Are you ready to face something like that? Is also a point that we need to understand. So that is what is a special alert control. Then we always have to keep our eyes, watchful eye should always be going. That is called as strategic surveillance. Surveillance is a key aspect. We have to constantly keep following that surveillance, otherwise it becomes very difficult. End of the day, when you are not focusing on what is going around you, like how CCTVs are important to monitor what's going on, you have to have some strategic surveillance, not literal CCTVs, the CCTVs for our environment. What are the changes that are happening in and around us is a very important question. Okay, and then towards the end we need to also have, so premise control, special alert control, strategic surveillance, and then we have what is called as implementation controls. Are we getting our answers? Okay, are we getting the answers that we desire is a quick and easy point that we need to answer, which is about implementational control is called a milestone review. Are we reaching our milestones? We designed some set of milestones, right? Are we reaching that? A milestone review. And then there is one concept called as monitoring thrusts. Thrusts are nothing but the key areas. So strategic thrust. Are we strictly and correctly fulfilling that strategic thrust is also the point that we have to take into control. Understood? So at all three levels, control is very much essential. Managerial control is about optimum utilization, while operational control is about the efficiency, and strategic control is about these four premise. This alone can be a question in the exam, so just make sure that you take into consideration. Okay, so the last thing that I want to close this revision is with just telling you that there are two more concepts. I'm not going to discuss them in detail. BPR, which is called as business process re-engineering, is about 3 words. Okay, the concept of BPR, I hope all of you know what BPR is. A dramatic transformation concept, fundamental rethinking, radical redesign, and getting a dramatic improvement. These 3 are definitely and undoubtedly needed. So that is something to do with BPR. Okay, and then there is also a concept of benchmarking, which is about selecting our targets, a target to achieve, and we focus on benchmarking and what are our existing processes versus the best business process. We compare both and we set up a benchmark. Benchmark is a nothing but standard or a point of reference. That is what is the story. Okay, so that's about benchmarking. Please go through these 2 concepts. They are very much simple. I don't want to elaborate and waste so much time on them. And one last thing for exclusively new syllabus people is called as the concept of strategic audit. Just a small topic is there, wherein Richard Rumel's criteria, that could be a question in the exam. It's already been asked once. So consistency, how consistent is the strategy? Are you following that? Consistency. Consonance is about change in trends. Is our strategy matching the change in trends? Is our strategy feasible? Feasibility. And most importantly, does our strategy bring us an advantage? If our strategy is not bringing us an advantage, then why the hell do you have that strategy? So, is our strategy consistent with our goals and objectives? Is it in line with the trends and changes that are taking place in the environment? Is our strategy practically possible? And is there any advantage in following our strategy? Is something that we need to thoroughly cross-check, and that is exactly what the concept of strategic audit is. I do understand these 2 concepts of strategic audit and the 2 dramatic concepts of BPR and benchmarking. You should be able to just dwell them once again in little more detail so that you will have an understanding. I am literally running short of time. That is why I am forced to wind up without discussing these 2 topics in great detail. But otherwise, starting chapter 5, this is the last part in chapter 8. So wherever few small topics here and there I might have not touched them at all, please go and do it on yourself. And those of you who haven't watched the first part, please do watch the first part. And if there are any friends of yours whom you want to share with, you can share. As of now, there is no revenues that I'm making out of this channel, so it's all free. Neither you have to pay for anything. So yeah, consider this as a gift from my side, both these parts. Chalo, I will see you in another live session very soon on this channel. Now there is another live coming up at 8 o'clock in tuition.in channel, where there will be a small quiz of 10 questions today, which are from chapters 5 to 8 of strategic management, so that we can foolproofly end this part also. Make sure to watch both the revision videos once again. Pull out that, match your schedules accordingly with 2 hours, or if you can do it even more faster, I'll be even more happier. Okay, so thanks for joining me again, and I wish you all the best in all your efforts that you're putting in. Don't get carried away with too many things. Don't bother what's going on social media or anything at this point of time, because 1 week down in October, we are looking at 23 days to go for whatever, and those of you are writing only the second group, a little more time. So please do make sure that you put in a little more effort than whatever you're putting every previous day. So if you put 100 yesterday, put 105 today, then make it 110 and go on, because that's what we need, and we have to go a little more than what we think we can. So if I think I can run only 5 kilometers, we have to inch for that extra effort, and that's only what is needed in this point of time. So please keep all the other things aside. Okay, everything else can wait. Times are very uncertain. Nobody has seen anything like what has happened this year. Like a literal global shutdown. So we are definitely into a new world. So make sure that you have your education in place, because later in life what you do or what you don't is totally up to you. But for now, you have an exam coming up, you have enrolled for it, you need to give your best. So just keep that point in mind and work towards that. I hope everything else will fall in place, and all of you have been saying thank you. You're welcome, absolutely, and make sure that study well and stay healthy. That's the need of the hour. I'll see you in my next live session, guys. Thank you, and good night.